6:30. I guess we're gonna call this meeting to order. At 6:30, there is quorum present, everybody is present. And I guess we'll stand and do pledge allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We'll have a public hearing to discuss proposal of the 24-25 budget. Are there any public comments?
Somebody signed up.
Okay.
Looking.
All right, so we will jump right into our superintendent's report. Diane's out there to help me if it doesn't go right. Diane, what did I do wrong? Oh, here, oh, man.
Backward.
I don't know how to do that. Get me six to help me.
There you go.
So I wanted you to see this lovely picture. I think that's a good looking team right there. So first thing is our enrollment. And so we're kind of starting with end of year 23-24, and then I'll show you where we're at for 24-25. So the elementary is down a little bit, but the middle school is up a lot of bit. So our middle school is up by about 33 kids. High school's, staying solid at 268, no kids in DAP. And so at the end of last year, we were at 875, and this year we are at 884. We have managed to hire teachers with babies. So if you have been to our early learning center, you will see lots of babies. We had to add some staff out there to take care of them. Pre-K4 class, kindergartners, some of our principals and assistant principals brought their kids here. So that those numbers add up, and we got lots of great kids here. So we're excited about that. Campus attendance, great for the 14th to the 23rd. Elementary and middle school at 98%. I think this is the first time I can ever remember a high school beating out an elementary school, but high school is at 99%. They've done a great job. Kids are showing up. I cannot remember ever in leadership a high school outperforming an elementary. So great job to Mr. Escamilla and our kids. And I'm not saying it's a competition, but coaches. So great job, 98 for the district. Our teaching and learning updates, some of the things that I included for y'all is really just starting with our teacher incentive allotment. We're wrapping up our beginning of the year assessment for that. We're meeting with every campus, talking to them about, their frequently asked questions. What are, some of the things that they're asking? And I'll kind of go to the next one. Just to give you a quick overview, Ms. Dodd, you want to talk about? Sorry, surprise. So,
Sure.
Well, this is your baby. Y'all done just a beautiful job. So I wanted to make sure I give you credit.
So our first year TIA is going to cover the tested subjects only, and we hope that within 3 years we'll be able to cover all teachers. But we have to start small and make sure we get it right, and then grow from there. Our elementary school is going to primarily use the MAP test as their growth measure, except for third grade math and fifth grade science, because they were TTAP last year, and you can't give the MAP test and the TTAP at the same time. So they're going to use a released STAR test as their BOI, and then the end of year STAR test will be their end of year measure. And then at secondary, all of the tested subjects will use a release test as their beginning of year assessment and a release STAR test as their end of year measure. And all of the campuses have done a great job so far of getting those BOIs done. For TIA, it needs to be done by the second week of September. And I think we really only lack that third grade math and fifth grade science test, and they've got those slated to do in the next 2 weeks. So we are on track to get that data capture for our first year. And that's where we're at. We're in the data capture year. That means that we give the assessments, and we will collect all of that data, and then we send it to Texas Tech, and Texas Tech verifies that our data is correct and accurate, and then they tell us which teachers qualify under our plan. And so we hope all of them do.
Absolutely. One of the things that we're working really closely on as a leadership team is the calibration, visiting classrooms as a group, talking about what each, dimension and domain that we're evaluating teachers. We want every teacher from, 3rd grade to 12th grade to have equal opportunity and for not to be any discrepancy. You don't want one principal assessing or evaluating, more difficult than another principal. We just want things to be very aligned and consistent and fair. So, and our next steps are obviously, growing this out, right? Right now, we started with our tested subjects. The goal is every teacher. We want every teacher in the district to have the opportunity for this allotment. And it's a heavy lift for our teaching and learning team, but, our teachers deserve it. They deserve the opportunity. And so that's kind of our next step is, next year adding more and next year adding more. We're going to put a committee together. So, anyone who joins the committee, they'll help us build out that 3-year plan, that long view. So elementary grading handbook and secondary handbook, that, really want to commend the principals on that. Elementary, got together and had some teachers come and give them feedback, and that's how they developed. And then Drew and Chase at the secondary level came together and their teachers built it out together. So we have a really tight alignment, 6 through 12. One of the things I'm really proud of is that we're kind of getting real-time feedback along the way. Like one of the things, we heard from science teachers is they wanted there to be an option for labs to be included differently. And so we took that feedback and changed it up a little bit, as an option. So we're really proud of our principals for putting all this together.
Yeah,
They did a great
kudos
job.
for putting something down in writing because we've never had procedures for grading
Yeah.
since, I was hired here 19 years ago and there was nothing. in the books.
And it's a protection not only, for our teachers, but for our kids and for our parents and, to equalize it across subjects. And, it doesn't matter if you've got, reading or math, everybody's got, it's going to be weighted a certain way. There's going to be a minimum number of grades. We're going to weight assessment grades. So
Thank you.
we're excited about that. Principals, they did the heavy lift. Amanda and Jackie did a great job with that. So they did all the hard work. So I just put it in a link for y'all to look at. And then GT handbook, I wish Victoria was here. She, and Amanda, you chime in, and Jackie, I know you've been a great mentor for her too. So Victoria did a great job as a 5th grade teacher. She has jumped right in as our GT, as our advanced academics facilitator. She's been at every campus. Today we had a principal meeting and I said, tell me what's happening with GT. And they were telling me about passion projects and plans and all the things she's doing. And then Chase says, well, have you seen her advanced academic site? And I said, no, I have not seen her advanced academic site. Let's see if I can pull it.
She took a job with very little guidelines.
Mhm.
It was just kind of like, go,
It's the first time we've had
you
this.
do you.
And go forth and be great.
Yeah.
And she has.
And she has.
So she put, she's really wrapping her arms around gifted and talented and supporting UIL and our advanced courses and dual credit. At some point a couple of years ago, I think the board and under the guidance of Joe had said, we want, I think 2025, we want every teacher to be GT certified, and it's not about, being in compliance, but it's about every teacher having the capacity to serve our gifted kids. We're not going to take away, other things that Victoria does, but we're going to make sure every teacher can serve them. And Victoria has just jumped right on with that. I think she even scared teachers a little bit. And they're like, are we out of compliance? No, you're not out of compliance because Victoria is providing the services, but we are going to build capacity in you as teachers. So every kid can be serviced. Every gifted kid can be serviced. We're not just focusing on the middle. She's done a great job. So if you ever see her around, brag on her.
Where can we find that site that she built?
I'll share it with y'all.
Okay.
I'll share it with y'all. Financial update. You've got your report, the preliminary first report, our cash position. Tracy, anything you want to throw in about that?
Reports are there. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer you.
I'll say this, I've said this to the board before and, to say it publicly, public education is at a hard time right now. We're across Texas, right? Most of our schools are passing enormous financial, enormous deficit budgets, not just, 200 or 300,000, but 4, 5, 6, 8 million. And this board, former board members, Joe, our former superintendent, did a really good job of taking care of this district financially. Tracy has done a tremendous job at managing money and holding us accountable and, making sure that we are not spending more than we're bringing in. And that's why we are in a much better place than probably 95% of the districts in this state. So Tracy, you've done just a tremendous job. So, community engagement. You're welcome, Tanya. I wish I could have seen Tanya's face. Community engagement. Some of the big community activities, and this is just really touching. I'm going to start with PTO. Our PTO has done a great job and there's other things. They've stocked the fridge. They put up our signs. They had the play date in the park. We had, somebody come out and give free haircuts. We have our community tailgate, 9/6. Melissa is with PTO is heading up our backpack buddies, making sure every weekend kids, not just at the elementary, but across the district who need food sent home are getting food and things sent home for the weekend. We had our steering committee, our community meeting with Mo Casey. That was a great turnout. And then our steering committee will be September 11th, and that'll kind of kick off, where we're going to go with our bond insight, what the community wants and what's the vision of the community. T-Mobile Friday Night Lights, we were a $5,000 winner. Thank you, Jackie, for submitting that application, and we're going to keep posting on Instagram, and hopefully we move on to the next round. Temple Daily Telegram ran a story about it, so proud about that. Last but not least, our Education Foundation, the Black and Gold benefits the 28th at Flag Hall. They're also accepting distinguished alumni nominations. Roped Amanda in to being on the board. I said, wouldn't it be fun if you were on the Education Foundation?
No,
with
you
me?
invited me to the meeting.
Oh, I said, you want to come to the meeting with me? And she's like, yeah. And then we're like, I don't know if we're on the way. We're about to be on the way. And I said, and by the way, we need a secretary. We need a secretary. So now Amanda's the secretary. So just like Jackie's next. So if I ask you, Jackie, get ready. All right, my favorite part of the meeting, I am going to let Ms. Giles take this over about our Eagles Rise. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so every school has positive referrals, and to me, it still has a negative connotation with that word referrals, and so we were kind of changed to something different. I know last year was called Caught Being Good, but again, that word caught has a little bit negative connotation. So came up with Eagle Rise because Rise stands for Recognizing Integrity, Service, and Excellence, and tying this all back to our mission and our vision. So you can see the 3 students up there. The one in the middle is middle school. He got it because he holds that door open into the lunchroom every single day. So really amazing kid. We just want to recognize him for that. Cash, he's on the far right. Cash actually put all the stools up in Miss Williams' class. At the end of the day, Miss Williams was going around putting the stools up, and he put his bag down and just started helping her and making sure that she didn't have to do it alone. Carson helped clean up. And they had done like a, welcome back to school kind of snowball fight thing. And anyways, he cleaned up all the trash. And so the teachers been done to all that. So they were recognized, they were given a certificate, and we blasted them out on social media. We called parents, let them know, hey, your kid's really awesome. Thanks for sharing them with us. And so, yeah.
So I'm gonna tell a funny story about this. It's gonna embarrass Mr. Coulter real bad. So, I'm like, the first meeting, this is great. I want to showcase this. This is wonderful. And Mr. Coulter talks to me like real serious, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, how is that fair to the other kids that get this? And I'm like, no, it's not about the kids. It's about the program. We're showcasing the program. He was real worried that I was going to leave out all his other kids. And so we're not going to bring every kid every time, but I do want to affirm, Drew and Chase and Sarah, just for making sure that we're recognizing the great things about kids, and not just recognizing, but taking time to call parents and check in with parents and say, we see your kid doing great things. So great job. We had I don't know if it was yesterday or today, me and Tanya were talking, and we were talking about how we're living our mission and vision, and she's having, what are y'all doing? Having your kids write affirmations to each other and then put them up on the board, empowering them to, so I thought that was super impressive. They're just all doing great things. Just proud. And then our launch, of course, is our wonderful teachers. The best thing about being a teacher is that it matters, and the hardest thing is that it matters every day. So that is my report, and probably my favorite part of the meeting. I get to brag on all the great things our people are doing. Now it's your turn.
Oh,
Any questions, anything y'all want to say, I won't talk to you.
I don't think I have.
Okay,
Not yet.
not yet?
There's no telling. My mind's going 37 different ways right now. I guess that moves us into the action items. So I think the first is a chance to review the 24-25 budget. If there's any questions for Tracy on that.
I'm sorry for the small print, but that is how I'm having to report it. Comparing it to 23, 24, and so it just really condensed it, so I apologize for that. And as you can see, it's comparing 24, 25 proposed budget to the actual budget, and that does include amendments and everything for 23, 24. So you'll have the general fund, the debt service fund, and the child nutrition fund. So basically, if you'll look at the total, the highlighted columns.
These right here?
Yes.
Okay.
No. I'm looking at this right
Oh,
here.
you're looking at the, you're looking at the big, okay, yeah, I'm talking about, yeah.
That's why it's
This one's
so small.
Okay.
No, I'm so sorry about that. But anyway, you can kind of see overall that we went up approximately, you can see the percent change down at the bottom, and it says about 14.78%. Most of that's going to be because of our debt service. Our general fund went up really slightly. I mean, we really cut corners. We did everything we could to try to keep the budget down as good as we could.
That's why you don't have water sometime, Bradley.
But, so anyway, that you can see that it's went up ever so slightly from last year. But overall, we are talking about a 14.78% increase. And like I said, that's including our debt service, which is going to allow us, if the tax rate is adopted, to retire some of our 2014 debt, from our bond, 2014 bond. So, but it was fun. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not pretty. And this does include a part of the solar farm income. So I did have to plug a portion of that in,
But not all of it.
but not all
It was
of it.
less, it was like less than half.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
I guess that's it for questions and concerns.
So the main one, Tracy, is items, it's the debt service bond issuance cost, because it was very low last year, now it's like 1.692. So that's the one you're talking about that is the big difference.
Okay, so where are you?
I'm looking, it's like 3 from the bottom, or 4 from the bottom,
The debt service.
debt service bond.
Right.
issuance. So that's
So-
the only one.
Yeah, so if you're looking like, okay, so you see the debt service column, and for 23, 24, if you look at the bottom, it was 1,179,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you come over to 24, 25 proposed, if you'll go follow down the debt service, you'll see it's 2.8
Right.
million now. So we had to include that retirement in these payments. So that's why it's increased so much.
But if we pass the tax rate,
Correct.
okay.
So we need to emphasize to the public that this will affect the education if we do not mitigate that difference, to make sure it's very the importance.
Yeah.
To make sure that we're able to approve it, so we'll be able to,
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we published it in the paper 10 days ago, so that people could look at it. If they
Transparency.
had any questions, that's why we have a hearing. So if people have any questions, they can come and ask questions. we can answer any questions they may have regarding it. But this is really a good thing because our tax rate is not increasing. It has ever so
Going down a
slightly
little bit.
decreased. So we are going to actually be able to decrease, retire that debt. That's a great thing, without increasing our tax rate.
And does that free up more for a future bond?
Yes, and
Dan was gonna come tonight,
he was, and I was trying to check on him to see why he's not here.
because, yeah, he was gonna come and talk about capacity and,
Yeah, but anyway, I was trying to see what happened to him. But this does help us because what ends up, it helps free up those monies and then it's going to allow us to have a greater bond capacity.
Okay.
That's simple terms, that's Tracy terms, okay? I'm sure there's good financial advisor terms, but.
we might understand Tracy didn't
No,
know.
I
Yeah,
Financial
there's
advisors.
translation there.
Everybody good? All right, do I have a motion to approve as presented by administration?
Also move.
First by JP, second by Mr. Green. Right, scratch.
Good job.
Oh, yeah. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 7-1. The next on here was, we were gonna hear from Dan. I guess we're gonna skip that one.
Tracy?
I'm gonna talk about it.
Okay, so I had a chance to consider and review the order authorizing the defeasance and redemption of outstanding bonds of the Rogers ISD.
And that's kind of what Tracy was talking about with
Yeah.
2014.
Right, and so this is just taking care of basically all the paperwork. We need to follow the steps to make sure that we follow all the procedures, so that we're all in compliance with everything. So this resolution allows us to do that. I'll be there. He thinks it's tomorrow night, so that's a miscommunication on my part. So anyway.
I've done that.
This will allow us to buy down about almost 2.5 payments. So, that's really going to be quite a bit. It's like 1.6 million that we're gonna be able to buy down. And I know that buy down is not the correct term. I will get in trouble if someone hears me saying that. I should say retired debt.
Retired debt.
Retired debt. Again, Tracy term, buy down, it just sounds better, right? It sounds like, okay, we're
We
gonna.
call that context clues in teaching.
So.
And how was that amount again?
It's around 1.6 million. I don't have the exact amount in front of me, but I can get that to you.
So I missed some of the meetings before, but for my clarification, so, because looking at the tax rate, so when you calculate the tax rate and it would have dropped significantly. So because we're calling this debt forward, we can keep the tax rate the same and then pay this debt off in a
Correct,
nutshell.
correct. Yes.
We'll let Keith explain it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's the increase in the budget too, because you're calling that debt.
Right, on the debt side, that's why we have such the increase in percentage, because we have to pay it off in this 24-25 school year.
And that'll say 1.6.
Well,
That'll
it's-
retire. It'll be
Right, yeah.
retired.
Correct, we're gonna retire it.
The
That is
1.6
correct.
mil, yeah.
Well, there's no more discussion of that. Do I have a motion to approve the presented by the administration?
Also move.
First by Mr. Mark. Second by Mr. Green. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Now we have to consider and review the 2024 tax rate. And if there's any questions, it's Tracy. I noticed that I had to catch you there for a minute beforehand because I was having trouble finding it. Keith was saying a while ago, it's essentially close to the same, but actually goes down a bit. And the difference is what? About 0.5%, about 0.6.
So it actually goes down.
Yep.
But we can afford.
Pay off
Pay
or
off.
retire.
Yeah.
Retire? I would like to retire.
But not well, shouldn't be too much argument about that.
Hey, I can't argue with actually lower tax rate than it was last year.
It's pretty low already.
But that's very, if I'm looking at right there in the middle, when it's comparison to last year's rate, you know, so the M and O stays pretty much the same, the 0.669.
Well, and it's actually gone down, it's compressed a little bit more, and that's, we have no control over that, the state does that. So it was 0.669 last year, now it's 0.666, so it's compressed just a little bit more on the M and O side. But we do have, you know, the more of the control on the INS side, and so that's how we were able to keep that. And still yet, it is a little bit lower. However, it is going to still affect a homeowner. As you can see, if you look at the comparison of proposed levy with last year's levy on an average residence, and it compares like a last year based on the tax rate versus this year. And of course, your property value has increased. So there's still going to be a slight increase, even though our tax rate has decreased a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that was interesting. Average market value has gone down, but the average taxable value went up.
Yes,
But the difference in your actual taxes at the end of the day is, on this average, is $111.
yes, annually.
Average.
All right, any more discussion on that? Anybody want to make a motion to approve as presented by administration?
Also move.
First by Mrs. Fox,
Second.
second by Mr. Mejia. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion carries 7-0. All right, next is a chance to consider and view the adult and student meal prices for 24-25. Not lost my place. I got two of those. There it is.
And that was in y'all's, I think, board update a week.
Yeah. Cost more to feed folks. Everything costs more.
Tracy scared me when she told me about this. She came to my office and she goes, "We're going to go up." And I was, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking, you know, by like dollars, but it was not.
50 cents and 10 cents, 20 cents.
The combos went up.
Yeah.
That's pretty much just 20 cents across the board, or 25 in some spots.
50 cents for the adult
Yeah.
lunches, 20 cents, 20 cents, 20.
I wish I could go get a meal for
That much, need you?
$5. Any questions or concerns of that deliberation? Do I have a motion approved presented by administration? First by Mr. Green. I'm gonna get to Mr. Mark.
He beat you.
All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion carries 7-0. All right, next on here is review of the financial report.
the budget amendment, that's this one, right?
Yes, that's this one right here.
I trust Tracy.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that, because this one was fun. This is a guessing game at the end of the year because so much happens that goes into this, and yet we have to have this done. I mean, we have to have it all in print. So as you can see, I've got the amounts there, everything, and what I've anticipated, and I'm hoping and praying that I've got the anticipation right. So that's basically what it is. What we've expensed, what we've still got encumbered, we've got a few things that we still need to pay out. I bet you I've had, well, today is Tuesday and I've run three check runs this week, trying to get everything paid out. And then Cheyenne, worked diligently and hard at getting our, accruals, and it's just a process, the end of year accruals for payroll. That factor into all of this as well, so.
And shout out to Cheyenne for basically doing 2 jobs for the last month, handling human resources and all the things that entails, and kind of helping with payroll and making sure everybody gets paid and no one calls and yells at the board.
Is that who we need to talk to?
Great team. Great team.
Yeah, great, yeah.
So anyway, but overall, we're, a lot still factors in, but I think that we're all going to be pleasantly surprised and happy when we get to our final numbers.
Fine by me. All right. Do you have a motion to approve the?
Financial.
Yeah. the
A
financial
budget
report.
amendment.
That's what I was looking for. Final budget amendment.
I so move.
First by Mrs. Fox. Do I have a second? Mr. Green, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion carries 7-0. All right, now we gotta go back to, let's see. Now it's a chance to review the compensation plan amendment.
There's not a whole lot that needed to be amended. There was just a couple of things that had to be added that was not there last time.
The big one was the Guardian program.
It was, and so if you move over to your stipend schedule, and of course, our pages aren't numbered, but the school guardian's stipend was added. And so that was a big one. And then also, moving back one, we did add receptionist / AP specialist because we are in the process of hiring a receptionist now that Lexi is just doing an amazing job as superintendent secretary. We do need someone to now answer the phones,
And that'll-
be a receptionist.
And that'll take the place of Joanna.
It will. take
So
the place of Joanna.
We haven't replaced her, so that person will just slide into where Joanna was. Lexi will keep being Lexi, and making sure I do what I'm supposed to do.
But that's basically why we had to bring that back.
Anyone? Nothing? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the compensation plan amendment?
That's so moved.
First by Mr. Mark,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Fox. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those against, motion carries 7-0.
So the next one is about our new hire. You want me to let Tanya talk a little bit?
Sure.
Tanya, surprise. Tell us about Miss Nancy.
Sure. So I had the pleasure of working with Nancy Velez Martinez when I was a classroom teacher years ago. She came to my classroom and serviced some kids with special education needs. And so I got to see her work through that perspective as a classroom teacher. I know that she's going to be collaborative and work really well with kids. She has a huge heart for children, which is the reason why I reached out to her when I knew we had her open. Luckily, we were able to get her at a time in life where she's available, and so I'm really glad to recommend Nancy for a position with Rogers. I think she'll be a great fit.
And you were currently doing SLP? LSSP.
School psychologist.
Okay, you come with all the background.
She has a lot of credentials, school psychologist and also speech therapy assistant and special education teacher, so she brings a lot to the table.
And Miss Dockery was telling me kind of when we were talking that you were excited to get back to being with kids every day and small
Yes.
town and.
I'm excited about all of it, and I will say that I'm also studying organizational leadership. I'm trying to get my doctorate, and we're focusing on positive leadership. And I think Tanya is an amazing example of that, and that's the number one reason why I'm excited, because I would really like to learn from her, and I know that she has branched out. All her people are a reflection of her. So I just think it would be an amazing opportunity.
Well, we are glad to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here.
And this will take care of the recent
Mhm.
opening we just had.
Tanya took care of it.
Perfect. Good deal.
What a great principal does.
Good deal.
That's cool.
Yep.
All right.
Pretty fortunate to get something. that
And
quickly.
pretty fortunate to have, you think we made a couple of late hires. Drew was looking for a math teacher pretty late, and Tanya was looking for sped, and they just went out and made it happen, made phone calls, thought about people they knew. I mean, our principals did a tremendous job at hiring, so it's a reflection of their leadership.
Yeah, thank you for giving it a go. Let's see, do I have a motion to hire Nancy? Is it Velez or?
Yeah, just.
Velez?
Fine.
As a special education teacher at Rogers Elementary. First by Mr. Green,
1 second.
second by Mrs. Fox. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries 7-0.
Welcome to Rogers.
All right, now we review the consent agenda as presented by administration. This includes the minutes from the July regular meeting, the CKEC local policy for our security personnel, school resource officers, the CQC local policy in regards to technology resources, and the FFAC local policy regarding wellness and health services for medical treatment. These were reviewed by our policy committee, and they will be given, and they have given their approval. I don't see any,
Yeah, it's been a while
Defects.
since we did all of this.
well, yeah.
I don't even remember doing it. Was that Dr. Battershell we worked with to do this?
For these three, no, these were the three that we met on
We met and did this.
like
but
3
the-
weeks ago.
But the peace officer, the SRO, that one was
But that was, so y'all did that with Dr. Battershow, but then we had to kind
the
of,
second reading.
yeah, we had to do the second reading. We
Yeah.
did the second reading of that and then looked at like kind of the policies. And
Mhm. You guys did a really good job writing that
and
one up.
Jesus would be proud of me. I figured out how to turn a PDF. And I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When I figured it out, I thought Jesus would
Thank
be
you.
so proud.
Thank you. She was.
I know. Yeah, you're right.
If there's no corrections to those minutes, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented by administration?
I so move.
First by Mr. Shervinka. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Fox. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, motion carries 7-0. Adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:09 PM?
I so move.
Mr. Mark, Mr. Green, all those in favor? Motion carries 7-0.
Good evening.
Have a good evening.